Hello guys, welcome to another trade recap. Today we got the double break short, and let me go ahead and explain why I took the short and also explain a little bit of the markups that I have over here to finish up the day. So in the morning, I was kind of like interested in longs and shorts at the same time. Really, like if we look over here, we pretty much broke the range on NQ. Now it seems like kind of like retesting this um bottom range over here. I guess that now the support now becomes resistance, and it's pretty much what we saw over here. But that was not the main confluence for me to go show. It was just something to to highlight on. And I'm just using NQ because on NQ the range is so much cleaner than on ES. Like even though I'm in the 4 hour over here, we'll go to the 4 hour over here. I mean, I guess we can assume this is the range we're currently trading, but for me, just easier to see on and much cleaner to see it on NQ. But the main reason for me to go short today and play the double break was because I wanted to play the pullback to overnight. Then if we bounce high from overnight, if we chop on overnight after, like that really doesn't matter to me. After that first trade, I was looking back. I was looking pretty much to take the trade back to overnight. Obviously, I did not hold the trade all the way to overnight. We're pretty much targeting base hits. And yeah, I mean, I did got a little bit extra money on the line on this trade because the slippage, because I didn't have the TP. And I think I closed the trade over here. I was spamming the exit, the pretty much like cancel all and exit positions on TradeObait. And also I did a mistake. I did took the short on my combine instead of my actual ignite today, which is fucked up, but whatever. We ended up two winners today on this trade. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Was like really simple like idea behind this short. And also on ES, bro, like the last time we tapped overnight was pretty much I think the same time, like 3:24 a.m. in the morning, and then yeah, 3:22 in the morning on ES. So pretty much the same thing, right? Then I was open to look for more trades over here. I did took two small trades today. The first trade idea that I took was a long here, and I exit out over here, and then I took another long healed. So I took another long over here, and then I think I pretty much exited the trade, if I'm not mistaken, like around no hold on, like around here. And the reason for that is because I was watching bookmap orders, and the bookmap orders got pretty much like pulled out. Let me just show you the small screenshot. So this is, yeah, pretty much I exited the trade over here. So the reason for me to take out the trade was because I saw this block of orders over here. That was okay. We can go and fill those orders up. And then once I saw that pretty much price took out those orders, I was like, okay, hold on, brother. Like this might just poof us. I mean, we're already at New York BWAP. We're pretty much trading lower. You know, I was not really expecting that much like play around this BWAP, which I mean it makes sense. We have the three BWAPs just pretty much at this point we're just like squeezing up together, you know. So I guess we can expect this to happen. But the main idea over here was to take the trade all the way back to opening range low and point of control in value area high, I think it was, yeah. And then that's pretty much the target for the longs over here. But I pretty much ended up pulling because I saw this, and I was like only two micros in because I did already made money on this short over here. So I was just like, yeah, you know what? Like I'm just gonna see if it and then start like playing out or not. So pretty much I was just like testing the waters, getting some reps in, which I'm pretty happy that I took the trade, even though I pretty much took a small loss, but I did took a win over here. So yeah, TP ended up hitting over here. Then on the afternoon, I was watching price again, and I saw this big ass candle over here. Price ended up pretty much closing under New York BWAP in overnight, and I was okay. Well, I mean, we can just wait a little bit longer because we have this huge ass candle. What happens if we just like bounce up? Like doesn't really make sense for me to go short right now. And then I was interested to a short, but I went to grab some coffee because I got my Black Shirt Club at this time, my Black Shirt Club call this time. So pretty much like I kind of fucked up on this trade, but this is pretty much the idea, bro. Like we push. New York failed to close above and you hold above again, push lower, push under overnight. That's the entry for short, and pretty much we're targeting this um wick, bottom wick that we did on this huge candle. I didn't. I'm not sure if this was like some kind of news or not. If I'm being honest, I didn't check, but yeah, that was the trade over here. Then this is another idea that I had marked up after the fact that I was doing the markups for the video, and I pretty much also added this markup over here. Pretty much again, pushing about trying to push previous days overnight in New York were pretty much rejected. We can just place our short over here. And in this case, bro, since in my opinion, right, if we already have like the B-WAPs over here squeezing or like tied up together and price just pretty much like runs through the B-WAPs, I don't think I don't see the point for me to have this stop like all the way over here, you know? Because we would have the three B-WAPs over here. If we're just pretty much like gonna like push higher again past the B-WAPs, bro, I think we're just gonna push higher. So for me in my head, I think like a stop like above this swing high should be enough in my head. Probably it's too tight. I'm not sure, but since we have the three B-WAPs over here, I don't think I should like have my stop all the way to point of control, you know, because we already like failed to push above point of control. We're displacing away from it, you know, making new lows. So for me just to have my stop all the way above here doesn't really make sense. So I think my stop should be above this structure over here. I think that's a good stop. And then we can just drag a structure below, which also it's a belly area low pretty much. So these are the trades that I marked down and I watched live. And I'm really happy with the day as an overall in a sense. I did took a short on my lucid today, and the reason for that is just because I knew I was kind of like quote unquote like fighting the BWAP trend, you know, which is something I need to get out of my vocabulary if I'm taking the double break, because the double break doesn't really care if we are like fully aligned for longs or shorts. Just the double break is just gonna happen, you know. So it doesn't really matter. So I think it's just something that I need to remove from my vocabulary when I'm taking the trades. But yeah, did took this trade on my lucid, and actually I'm pretty happy with the profit, bro. I think the profit on the account was just like 500ish 20ish something like that, which is a pretty good profit for me. I did another ad over here, and also I was watching in Q, bro. I think I'm just getting a little bit better watching the double breaks, because when we watch both, right, pretty much on this candle over here, that's when ES actually broke lower here. And now on this candle, when I took the ad, that's when NQ actually took his New York BWAP. So I think that's pretty much a good zone to add over here. And then I pretty much closed it manually because I didn't have my TP over here. So I pretty much I cut the trade here. And then yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I just took one trade today. It's a Monday. I really not wanted to push it that farther on a morning on a Monday morning. But yeah, like because here I was kind of like I did the markups after the fact, but I was kind of like in a tricky spot over here because I saw B was pushing higher. I was kind of like liking the longs over here. NQ almost took the high, kind of, you know, push all the way above over here. So it was kind of tricky, bro. I did decided for the short in here, and then this was just something that I marked later. But I think it was just smarter to. I think I really like this trade. I like better this trade than this one. If I'm being honest, the reason for that is because we're pretty much following like the trend, you know. Like when I saw like this 4 hour candle like wick the way it did over here, and not about this one, it's just like the way that it printed. I was just like, bro, like I don't think we're gonna push that far, you know, like above. Also on the 1 hour, you know, like we pretty much like we're just waking the highs. We're not really actually pushing, you know, we're pretty much failing to push above the highs. So I was more interested in the longs for say. But I think I just need to see this more often about like the BWAP squeezing together, you know, and me giving me the opportunity to take a trade based on like the overall trend, which in this case was lower for me. I know that we look since Asia pretty much making higher highs and higher lows, but I mean it's on the 4 hour, bro. We're just pretty much pushing lower, you know, on the 4 hour. Like we just been like pushing lower in on the 4 hour. This is the 1 hour. Hold on. So if we put the price on the 4 hour, we can see the clear trend lower. Even though it looks kind of choppy, you know, I think we can see much cleaner on EQ though again. But I think we can just see that we're pretty much trending lower in a sense. Now, obviously, it's when I'm saying trending lower, like I guess rangy trending lower, grinding lower. You want to, in a sense, because I mean, this is pretty much the trend is something like this. Like this is fucking trend. This is just pretty much choppiness, bro. And it was something that Austin was saying on the Black Shirt Club call, which like pretty much I think we're in a situation like this. Pretty much gonna probably like just chop for a bit and then grind higher. But I think we're just gonna pretty much like slowing down a bit before going higher again. I don't know when we're gonna go higher, but I think we're just in these situations where pretty much we're gonna be probably just ranging, bro. Maybe not be just an idea. Pretty much we're just gonna be like ranging for a bit, and also half of a year, bro. So usually I don't really like to like have these like seasonal tendencies, but I think we're just gonna pretty much like be in this range, maybe a little bit lower over here, maybe. But it is what it is, bro. We just need to do the best that we can to survive and adapt to these market conditions. And I think so far I have been able to do it so much better than before. So I'm pretty much happy for that. Um, that I was able to adapt a little bit better and faster than before. And also, I think the markups have been like helped me a lot, as in overall. And also just being patient. I had been using Bookmap a lot, and that also has helped me a lot to understand when I want to go in and if I want to wait a little bit longer. But I mean, as an overall, really happy with the execution today. No hesitation, just enter. We got out like pretty much the trade paid like what in 5 minutes. So that's a pretty much like a really easy trade. So really happy for that. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for me today. And we go back again tomorrow. I hope you guys learned something from my markups today. I hope you guys learned something from your own trading today. And yeah, guys, see you again tomorrow. Take care.